Hello there. Welcome to Land Title Talk, where we encourage you to text your questions or comments in at 904-501-4481, 904-501-4481, or you can email your questions or comments at stephen@golandtitle.com, and we can discuss your questions on the show. Today, we have some special guests. As always, we have Russ Dolan with us, Rusty Collins from the law office of J. Russell Collins, affectionately known as Rusty Law. And then we have two special guests with us, Diane Vespucci from Team 100 Realty, who is a broker associate. And then we have Gaye Jones from HMA Mortgage, who is a mortgage banker and also the sponsor of our show today. We appreciate you doing that for us. We also, as always, have Julie with us. Say hi, Julie. She's off camera, so. But we appreciate Julie being here and keeping us in line, keeping us straight. I'm Steve Collins, the owner of Land Title of America, and we appreciate you watching. Normally, we would like to say, Rusty, what's going on in your world, but we're not going to do that. We're going to just break over here to our sponsor. And Gaye, tell us a little bit about HMA Mortgage.
We are a mortgage company. We also have the option to broker out deals. And I have been doing this for 21 years. Prior to that, I was a real estate agent for 20 years, like Diane, in the Atlanta area. And I changed to the banking end when I moved here. And we do everything: VA, FHA, conventional, bank statement, investment loans, renovation loans. And I think most people in town that have used me, especially agents, they say, if Gaye can't do it, it probably can't be done. But I do a lot of counseling, too, on how to get people ready to buy if they can't buy now.
Right. Somebody doesn't qualify, you can tell them how they can get to that point where they can qualify.
Yes.
Yes. And mobile homes?
Mobile homes, yes. Even single wides.
Single wides.
That's
okay.
kind of new for the last year or so. It is a tough one. We do condos.
Condos, okay.
We have a condo approval department. She does all the underwriting and approves the condos. And this is the first company I've been with that has that.
Okay. How do people find you?
My cell phone is always the best, 904-599-2551.
Okay.
Or my email is gjones@hmamortgage.com.
Okay. And we also have Diane Vespucci with us. Diane, tell us a little bit about yourself and how long you've been in the business. And actually, I'm going to talk first. I'm sorry. Diane got in the business right when the market was crashing. And you can tell the character of an agent if they joined real estate during that crash and they stayed. Either they really care about people or they need medication. I don't know which, but go ahead and tell us
a little of both.
But tell us a little bit about yourself. And
I moved down here, didn't know a soul, and went right into real estate, as you know. And it was
gutsy,
the crash.
By the way, gutsy.
It was gutsy. Yeah. 2005 was when I got my license. And I was one of the first people who got into doing short sales, which is what helped, and wound up sticking with it and helping people. And I found out that helping people was the best way to run my business. And that's the way I do it.
And
I've been doing it.
I think you enjoy helping people.
I love
it's obviously a key
I
element.
love it. I volunteer in the community quite a bit. I work with Habitat for Humanity. I'm on several boards. I've done a lot of things. Brattini, raising money for breast cancer, and so on. So,
and what boards have you been a part of?
I'm the board of realtors. I'm on the MLS board. I'm on Habitat for Humanity.
Women's
Exchange. I was on the board of Art Breakers.
So, in other words, you have a lot of free time on your hands.
Yeah, that's it. You know what they say, if you want something done, ask a busy person.
That's true. That's so true in your case. Well, I want you guys on the show for a specific reason, and you went to Orlando this last weekend.
I did.
So tell me a little bit about that trip and what happened there.
That was the Florida Realtors Association for the state of Florida, and all the realtors from across the state get together and talk about issues, learn about AI, different new things that are coming on board. This last week, one of the biggest issues was the Tax Amendment 3 that's coming up. People were talking about it to not make anybody wait in suspense. Florida Realtors actually approved being for Amendment 3. I'm as an independent realtor not so sure about that because I still want to think about
What is the Tax Amendment 3?
Well, the Tax Amendment 3 is where they're going to essentially raise the tax exemption. It's staged. The first one begins in 2027 when they raise it $150,000 from $50,000. Then in 2028 they go to $250,000. In 2029, it stays at $250,000 and it's adjusted upward for inflation. So it doesn't apply to school taxes, only non-school property taxes. So, for instance, if you have a $350,000 assessed value, as much as $250,000 could be exempt from non-school property taxes.
So I have a personal question. What is your hesitation with that?
My hesitation is that it doesn't cover from the remainder of that. We're going to have to pay for the police, firemen, all of the public services we have.
So you have concerns about will the budget be able to cover
I have concerns. Are they going to raise millage rates locally?
Mm-hmm.
How is that going to affect budgets? Those are vital services we need, not only schools, but we need those other services.
Gaye, what's your take on that, those exemptions and how it might hurt or help? Now, see, you have an interesting situation. You got to approve people for mortgages. And
Exactly.
one of the things that could kick somebody out of a mortgage being approved is the tax.
Is the taxes.
Is the real estate tax.
Yeah, being able to have lower taxes. What I've seen over the years, when I used to get a customer from Connecticut, Massachusetts, California, and I would look at their current home. Oh my gosh, how much you're paying in taxes. What I'm seeing today is that's where we are here in Florida. They have really raised a lot over the years.
The values have gone up so
The values have gone up.
Right.
Now, it's nice, those that are homesteaded, however,
who've been in the home for a long time.
because you can't raise the assessed value. And there's some confusion there. It's not raising your taxes a limit of 3%. It's raising the assessed value of your home. It can't be assessed more than 3% higher each year if you're homesteaded.
Right.
Now, if they, as we said, to cover a budget, if they raise the millage rate, then the exemption,
What good is
you're
it?
still going to be paying more.
But didn't they talk about some limitations to the millage on what they can increase the millage? Was there
They
anything talked
don't
about
have
that?
anything yet. The only thing they have right now is they're required now that the taxes they do get do have to be put towards police, firemen, those public services.
I did see that. And
no more Taj Mahal buildings for the county.
And of course,
No more.
second home owners, investors, they're
doesn't
not
count for them.
homesteaded. So
They're not homesteaded, and the caveat, there are a couple of them. One of them is that if you don't own a home by the end of this year, you have to own your home for 5 years before that extra amount kicks in.
And I believe that's even for people that are currently renting.
Yes.
But residents of Florida.
You have to be a Florida resident by
But
that
if
time.
they're a Florida resident renting, they should buy
you should
by
be
the end of the
fine,
year.
because it says Florida resident. So you should be fine. But a non-Florida resident, when you come, it's going to be 5 years before you are able to get that
take advantage of
additional.
it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then
So people moving from out of the state aren't going to be able to enjoy these exemptions until
now
5 years.
they've also gone with investment in commercial property. It used to be non-homesteaded property assessed up to 10%.
Yeah, 10% cap.
Right? They're reducing that cap to 5%.
Okay.
So that's a good thing.
Yeah.
That will help.
Rusty, what's your take on all this? Mr. Attorney?
Florida likes to change its constitution, like some people like to change their underwear.
Yep.
Okay.
You're not a big fan
that
of the
conversation's
Constitution.
been brought up.
As long as the state of Florida's constitution and not the federal constitution, I'm okay with it. But we had a constitutional amendment that gave us high-speed rail that nobody knew how to fund. So I'm assuming that the people who know how to do the math on this have run through the math.
They have.
And they figured a way, because again, the homestead increase is the 3%, or CPI, whichever's lower.
Mhm.
Okay, and they're bringing non-homestead from 10% to 5%.
On investment.
Investment property,
Right.
which is very interesting to me because
Well, you deal a lot with that, don't you?
yes, and but then they can't. Okay, the local board of county commissioners or whoever sets our tax millage, they're going to get wiped out if they jump the millage up a lot. Okay,
I agree.
Voted out.
They're going to be voted out.
Yeah.
Right.
We do have rednecks in this town. You got to be careful what you say.
But the argument is, at some point they have to make up a deficit.
Right.
So how
We're-
are they going to make
Are we
that
running
up?
a surplus now? I didn't
No,
think so.
we are not running
Are we
a
wasting
surplus.
money that could be
Yes.
saved?
That is the
Always.
general
Do we need to get
consensus.
Doge in here? Get Elon Musk?
But
to
I
balance the
understood
The
budget?
general consensus is always that they waste tax
I
money.
understood one of the reports I looked at was that the Tallahassee, the state, says they have a surplus and they will help the counties
balance it.
balance it,
Well, we
their
do
budget.
have, let's use the word carefully, poorer counties.
Yes.
We do.
Yes. And I can see how you have a county that has a lot of homestead, a lot of people who live there, working county, who doesn't have a lot of income. This could hurt them extremely.
It could.
Yes.
It
Yeah,
could.
and especially if they don't have a lot of second home and investment properties. We have a
Right.
lot of that in
We
our
do.
county.
We do.
We do.
And there are several counties, especially coastal counties
Right.
around Florida, that are always going to have lots of investor.
We're going to get a lot of more people decide this is going to be their homestead, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I see
People
a,
have dual residency in certain states. And I shouldn't use that word because that's not really true. Who live and work somewhere else and been waiting to make Florida their primary residence.
Mhm.
You got that nice big beachfront house.
right.
They might just go ahead and change that and make this their primary residence.
and I think we may have a run if it passes in November. I think
December
December
will be
might be
busy.
a very busy month for real estate of people
I
that
think
said,
so.
you know what, I'm going to relocate now because I don't want to wait 5 years.
Right. I'm
Right.
get my residency immediately.
Exactly.
I think the thing people think, though, when they hear about this deduction, they think, oh, it's going to save me a lot of money. The average savings based on today's millage rate is about $1,400
Yeah,
per
it's
person.
not a
So-
huge savings. I think the other thing the state really has to look at, or maybe this is across the country, actually, it's a national, they have got to raise the capital gains exemption for primary homes. I'm in a position.
But you mean as far as you're exempt if you sell your primary residence, you live there for the last 5 years, you're exempt to up to 250 if it's single, 500 if it's married.
Right.
Yes,
And
but
so what you're saying is you think that needs to be increased.
it
to a
has
higher
got
number.
to be increased. They're
That's
keeping.
federal.
Yes.
I know, and they're keeping elderly people in their home because they don't want to have to pay capital gains.
on
And
the
then
money.
and then you look at someone like a married couple, and they've been in their house for. I'm a good example. Been in my house for almost 15 years. If something happens to me or my husband, now you're down to a 250. Well, we've been there long enough. We're going to make over 250. And so now you have to pay capital gains on your primary home. So I think that's something that has to be addressed. I think it would help the market too, because I think there are people out there staying in their homes.
There are a lot of people staying in their homes.
because they don't want to have to sell and pay those capital gains because they're making more than $500,000 or 250. So not, especially 250. You got a single person. If you've owned your house over 5 years, you're probably making over $250,000 when you sell
I
it.
mean, how many? Look at the prices of homes. In St.
Exactly.
Louis County.
Well, you can write off all your improvements,
True.
as long
If you kept a record.
if you keep a
True.
record. That's
I heard a
right.
scuttlebutt they were trying to pose to look at doubling the exemption.
I have read that and seen that in reports. Their talk, but
And I also heard they're trying to get rid of it. It goes both ways.
Women get rid of capital gains.
No, not get rid of
get
capital
rid
gains,
of the exemption.
homestead exemption.
Okay.
Yeah,
Or-
they've looked at that too.
Hey,
So
And I apologize. Let me clear. Not the homestead exemption, but the
capital gains
capital
when you
gains
sell.
exemption.
so it just becomes
yeah,
ordinary
just to
income.
confuse people
Yes.
a little more.
Are
We're
they,
talking about so many things that I'm.
they're wanting to get
muddled
rid of
that up really
the
nicely.
250 altogether. So it's just capital gains.
Just the capital gains.
Right.
Yes.
That's 250 and 500.
Right.
I think there'd be a big opposition to that within the voters.
There have been actually quite a lot. Also, they were talking about 1031s. There was, some scuttlebutt that they were trying to get rid of those, but nothing's become of that either.
Yeah, and
Too many people use it. I think.
but one of the problems with 1031s, what happens if Congress and their infinite wisdom gets rid of capital gains altogether and everything becomes ordinary income, and you have the only way to get out of the capital gains is to die,
Right.
or the income is to die
Right.
when things get stepped up. So you got to be careful with all those issues, because scariest thing in the world is Congress is in session.
Well, let's let's get back to Tax Amendment 3. So I know you're hesitant, but I want you to pick a side, yay or nay, on Amendment 3.
I think for me, the bottom line is it's going to wind up saving homeowners money.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where Florida Realtors came in. And I've got to be pro homeowner because I am a realtor and I strongly believe in
But you're a realist, and that's what your concerns are.
Yeah.
But
And
you're
that is
saying,
my concern.
right? But you're saying yay.
I am.
I'm for it myself. I think about especially the elderly.
Right.
I'm getting there too. So
We're already there.
oh my gosh. Yeah, the elderly folk in our community in Florida. I want them to be able to afford their homes.
Right.
Not to get off on reverse mortgages, but the one thing that you have to do to never have to repay your reverse mortgage is to
Die.
Well, not die, but my point is to keep your reverse mortgage. How about that?
You have to
keep
pay taxes.
You just got to pay taxes and insurance, right?
That's right.
And it's not funny, but it's weird how many foreclosures I see that pertain to people's reverse mortgage because they could not afford their taxes.
I think that's taxes and insurance. Insurance has been a problem.
That's a whole nother show.
Nother show. But those two things affect people's ability to stay in their homes.
Yes, and you add on to that the HOAs. If
Right.
they're in a townhome or a condo, they're on a fixed income on their Social Security, maybe a pension. And if prices of everything have went up anyway, food, gas,
Everything.
but if also your taxes and insurance, you can tax them out of their home.
Yes.
And that's sad.
So that's why I'm for it. So we got 2 yays. Rusty, for it? Don't say depends, please.
I do not know enough. Look, anything
Just
that
choose a
reduces
side
taxes
based on
is
what we talked
good.
about. Okay.
I don't want to reduce services. Now, if we should be able to save money by having services dealt with properly and proper oversight, proper auditing of people who have those purse strings and have access to them.
Right.
Because and a lot of budget stuff, they say, well, if you don't use it, you lose it. So they have to use it or waste it so they can keep it because they don't want to have to,
Right.
try to get money that they can't get anymore. It's just a matter of, I'm fairly sure that the people that are in charge of this have done the math. Now, you can almost put anything on the ballot for an amendment if you get enough people to support it, and then it goes out to the public on voting day.
Right.
And that's why the recreational marijuana did not pass. Okay, they got it on the ballot. There's a lot of money spent to do that, but then it didn't pass because the voters said no. And that's why that's why we have this process. We don't want our legislators are not making these choices, which means we can't blame the legislature when it goes bad. But it's the people that decide. And I think that's interesting that we have this. And in a society where taxes keep going up, it's nice to see taxes go down a little bit. But we've had a budget surplus within the state, and that's good. We can't print more money like the feds can.
True.
So as long as our schools stay good.
Well, they're exempt from that anyhow.
Well,
I know.
There's a whole other argument about the schools.
Yeah.
Like you said, another day.
We added a penny sales tax
Right.
to just cover salaries so we can compete with other counties. And frankly, I don't have any kids in school but I sure don't want idiots running around my
Right.
city. I'd rather have educated people.
We want educated
I want
people.
I want good schools, and so I think that buffers that or reduces that risk of loss. But we have a lot of it may get to where the infrastructure stuff that is being covered by tax, real estate tax, might have to go to the developers 100% or more to make up for it. I don't know how they're going to cover the difference.
The basics.
Yeah, because I don't see St. Johns County is not running a surplus as far as I know.
I agree.
So, yay or nay?
I don't think it's a good idea just yet. They haven't convinced me.
So you're no.
I'm no.
Okay.
I'm definitely a yes.
Yes. All right. You're outvoted.
I think it's going to
I like the
help.
idea. Okay. But,
But you want to see
I
how
want to see the math.
Okay,
Okay.
I
I'm
get
more
that.
analytical. And I think, look, no real estate agent worth their salt's going to say, vote no on this thing. Okay.
I don't know
can't
about
imagine.
that.
Okay. They might vote no, but I don't think they're going to tell people to vote no or go on the record as saying
Well,
no.
I'm not going to tell people to vote no or yes. I think it's very individual. And
is.
I think it's going to be really interesting to see, because there are a number of people who are very concerned about the same things you are.
Right. And
And-
again,
and me
I
as
don't
well.
want to pay more in taxes.
Services.
I'd rather pay less. Okay.
But I just think
Right.
that there's a way for the budgets to be better controlled. I think there's a little bit of poor management when it comes to governmental spending, especially in our county. I don't know if we need Taj Mahals, big buildings
Right.
to handle the services of this county. I think we can be a little more disciplined. I'm not saying I'm against it. I'm just saying that I don't want that to be the reason we can't help our elderly people
Right.
or our first-time home buyers.
But
I have no problem with these edifices. I use them, and I think it's great. But I still feel like, wait a minute, do we have to? Do I have to spend all that money? If it's going to mean that I have elderly people that I'm doing the foreclosure search on their property so they can't afford their taxes. That's where I sit. And so I feel like when money's available, government spends it. When you give government more money, they spend more money. It is simple math for me anyhow. I don't know about the discipline, which I'm just as guilty. Give me money, I want to spend it too. I don't fault them. I live that life. So, all right. So I just wanted to see where everybody was on that. I think it's an interesting thing. I'm glad. I believe it's going to pass. I really do.
Yeah, I suspect it'll pass.
I suspect it will pass too.
Most
we
people
would be
want the
surprised.
savings.
I thought the marijuana thing would pass. By the way, let's get everybody on the record. Marijuana, yes or no?
Yes.
no.
No.
Yes.
Yes. You know what's funny is I'm a yes too. You know why? I just govern yourself.
Yeah.
Prohibition didn't work.
Right.
So just govern yourself and be responsible for what
People
you do.
are still out there smoking marijuana recreationally.
Yes.
Only now they have to pay $500 to get a license.
Yeah.
So-
That was not on our topic today, but I just thought it was funny that we brought it up.
Yeah,
I just
no.
wanted to see what everybody was on the
The
record
problem
for.
with that amendment, the way it was done, is you still have to buy it from a dispensary.
Right.
You cannot grow your own in the backyard.
Right. Well, couldn't you grow a certain amount for plants or something like that annually? I could be confusing
I
that
don't
with
know
Virginia.
about that part. I just, I think if we're going to make it legal, you should be able to get it at Publix.
Well,
They
it's,
sell liquor there.
to me, it's like alcohol. It should fall under the same purview. I think they're both
I don't think it should
equally
be for kids.
dangerous.
Well,
Well, we have rules against alcohol, kids drinking alcohol. I agree with you. I think,
Yeah.
but definitely not mean to get off on this topic. But it's an interesting point.
Yeah.
You know,
I think
so
it is.
yeah, I like the.
I think some
self-maintained.
people were scared by
just be
the
careful, Stephen. If
anti-campaign.
they ever legalize
I don't like
it,
the smell.
and I bring you a muffin or a gummy bear, a piece
Don't
of
eat it.
chocolate.
Have you ever given him one?
No,
Oh,
I'm pretty sure that'd be a lot of fun.
I bet you would.
I've never had alcohol either, so
Ooh, you don't drink
We don't
either,
drink.
do you?
No.
no. So
Gaye
one
and I
day,
make up for you. It's okay.
one day somebody's gonna spike my drink. I know it. But all right,
And you'll be able to tell.
You will be
Oh,
able
I-
to
well-
tell. With alcohol, you'll be able to tell.
just instantly.
Gummies, no, but alcohol, yes.
Gummies will take 30 minutes.
That's right.
Alcohol, you know, when it hits your lips. you're
That's
like,
right.
What the heck
It's
is
like,
this? And why
what
does it
is
taste so
that?
bad?
Right. What?
Question I have, and I don't know if y'all have any information on this. There's a lot of buzz about the state or the federal government trying to suppress the inflation of homes or the appreciation of homes or the appreciation of real estate. Have you heard any of that?
I haven't. I have not. No.
Okay.
But and I know
That's going to be supply and demand. It's
Well,
always supply and
The
demand.
government's involvement in trying to artificially
Price
No.
fix, basically.
just keep
Right.
prices under control. There was talk, and again, I don't have any knowledge of this. It's just an interesting thing I'd like for y'all to look into, is that the federal government was getting after these hedge funds, that there won't allow for them to buy up hundreds of homes.
it wasn't hedge funds. It's real estate investment trusts.
Real estate investment trusts.
And
You
they-
do know something about that.
I do
Okay.
because Trump just signed a bill in a couple of weeks ago.
Okay.
And unfortunately, I don't know a whole lot about that particular bill, but I do know it did sort of put the brakes on real estate investment trusts.
Okay.
Well, there
So-
was
And created opportunity areas as well.
maybe 3 years ago, Fannie and Freddie, they put the brakes on second home and investments. So if we were doing a mortgage for someone other than a primary home, there was a 4.125% fee, which affected either that you had to pay points or it affected their rates. And they've pulled back a lot on that. I don't think we're paying that same fee. Investment and second homes have always had a higher rate, and they went to where we had to have 20% down. I mean, that really slowed down the market. And that was during COVID, 2021, 20 until 22.
Right.
And then when the market got slow, they backed off. You can now do 10% down on a second home, 15% down on investment, which there for about 2.5 years. And I wasn't sure if Fannie and Freddie did that. I look at two sides of the coin. Either, oh my gosh, the mortgage world is making so much money because we did all the refinances and purchases. They're making so much money, we want part of it. Or they wanted to slow down the second home and investment market so the primary buyers, the people that were buying for a primary home,
Get a home.
could get a home
Right.
because they were losing out. I'm not sure which way, but it worked.
I think the investment trust funds were gobbling up a lot of real estate, making it hard for primary home buyers.
Oh yeah, there was in the northwest part of the county, there was a couple neighborhoods where the whole neighborhood was bought and they put them up for rent. They were not for sale.
Actually, this all started happening during the crash.
Mhm.
They created, Blackstone was a big one. They would come in and they had a formula. It was 3 or 4 bedroom, 2-bath homes. And they would go in, they'd make decent offers, go in, do their inspections, and immediately put them up for rent. They, in fact, are the exact reason why our rents have gone up so much.
Right.
Because slowly, as inventory was bought up and they, dried it up, a lot of people who had owned could now only afford to rent
Mhm.
because they were foreclosed or had done a short sale. And they had to go into these rentals, and then slowly the rental price, 3.2s used to rent for $900 to
Wow.
$1,200.
Now,
And now you're lucky if you get in for close to $2,000.
but I know, Rich, do you have anything on the investment trust? I know you're looking something up.
I'm not finding anything
Okay.
that makes sense.
So
but
I want to talk about something interesting that's happening in our community is these apartment complexes.
Oh, they're everywhere.
They're everywhere.
I just went down 16. I was stunned. I went down to Silverleaf. There were 4 or 5 new apartment developments.
So that has
4
got to
stories.
be, that has got to be driving down the rental market a little bit
Not yet.
because it's flooding the market with available rentals. I talked to a gentleman, what was it, 2 days ago, and he's in the process of wanting to sell his rentals because he feels like he's having a hard time getting the rentals filled and getting the price that he feels is appropriate for what makes it worth his while, that he's actually going to put his property up for sale.
Well, you've got all of these new apartment complexes, and they're pretty and new and shiny, and
Yeah.
they got the cool amenities.
and they
yeah,
offer a deal for the first year.
Yeah.
My son rented one. It normally was $1,800 or $1,900 for a 1-bedroom apartment.
Wow.
They wound up getting it for $1,600 for the first year, but it reverted to after the first year. They did move out. They found a house.
Oh, good
but
for them.
yeah, so there are plenty of them around, and corporations can wait. Like single investors, not always.
Right.
You know, a couple of months not having a renter can really hurt them.
Yes. I mean,
I have a client that was the first tenant in a place up by Mirabella.
Mm-hmm.
It's by the sports area. That's kind of new, and he was the first tenant there, and that was, I think, in March of this year. And his security deposit, because he was the first tenant, was $250.
Wow.
Now
That's-
his rent is and he's got a couple garages with it. His rent's about 25 something,
Yeah,
but it's a nice apartment.
sure.
And it's got plenty of lighting. It looks very safe. They got a decent pool, sports room, or just a pool
Gym.
table room, a gym, a business center.
We've been complaining about there not being enough rentals, and it looks like they're
We've-
going to be.
We're
But
fixing
here's the
that
thing.
problem fast.
Well, they're not only doing apartments, they're doing whole communities of homes that are built for rental.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's one going in behind the movie theater.
Is that what
and
that
there's
is?
one on,
That's all
and
going to
there's
be rentals.
and there's one on
Wow.
Old Moultrie.
Okay.
I think
So-
where my son and his wife rented when they moved here from Phoenix, that was off of 210, and the whole neighborhood was rentals.
Right,
You remember right?
right.
Wow.
I go to eviction court every Monday. I'm there with one of the two judges every Monday, and typically I'm there to as a volunteer for legal aid
Mm-hmm.
and to help people get through that process. And usually it's to work a deal to get them out. If we can't fix the problem, to get them out without a judgment so they can get another place. But the rents are ridiculous. I cannot believe what people are paying for rent. I don't know how you have a job that lets you pay that much money in rent.
I don't know either. I think it prevents a lot of people from getting into a home, frankly,
Yeah, they
because
can't
it's
afford
very
the,
difficult.
they can't afford the rent and also save money for a down payment,
Especially if they're in the service industry,
which is
right?
a lot of
Or
our people.
workforce, our
Mhm.
general workforce. It's hard. Teachers' salaries are what? They start at 35, 36,000, somewhere around there, 40,000.
Right.
Not a lot of money to pay those kind of rents and save money to buy a house.
Right.
Unless you're going to a Habitat for Humanity house, which is wonderful for first-time home buyers.
little commercial there.
Yes, but even those get foreclosed sometimes.
They do.
Yes.
Unfortunately,
I was
they-
in on the first foreclosure.
that must have been really sad.
Yeah, but people make choices,
Yeah, they do.
and I don't recall that being if I remember it right, I think they more interested in their Xbox than paying the mortgage payment or something.
That's been known to happen.
Yeah.
Can happen. So, Gaye, give us a little report card on the lending world.
It's difficult right now. It's very slow. I know people are buying houses still.
We're
There's-
closing them.
There's a lot of people that want to buy houses. With these extra brokered programs, bank statements, the DSCR, which is for investors, that debt service credit reduction. Freddie Mac just changed.
Do you do DSCR loans? Did
Yes.
you say that right? Okay.
Yes. Freddie Mac just eased something for people with a lot of money. You've got people that have big investments, but maybe they own their house free and clear. They don't want a mortgage. They've got money, but they don't have monthly income. And qualifying for a mortgage is all about monthly income. But Freddie Mac just lowered their how you calculate monthly income based on their investments. So now it's by 180 months. It used to be 360, then they went down. Fannie is still at 240, but Freddie is at 180. So if you've got $500,000 in the bank, you take a percentage of that. I think it's, depending on your age, 70 to 80%. And then you divide it by 180. And we can use that as monthly income, even though you're not taking it,
Right.
because you don't need to take
Well,
it.
you could if you needed to.
Yeah, you could.
Right.
And
Maybe.
we've set up distributions before. But you know, when you take money out, especially once you're over 65, you're paying taxes on it. Your Medicare might go up. I mean, there's so many other things connected to that monthly income. So you're able to calculate, well, they could take X amount and use that for income, but still leave the money in their investment and have it making money. So for high wealth people, that's one avenue. And these brokered programs, you know, I don't want people to think that, oh my gosh, we're back to the crash where everybody was qualified. They're still very strict and we're still qualifying
Thank
people.
God.
It's just different documentation. Right. So, you know, 1 year is a 1099. And they've also changed some of the self-employment rules. So, you know, if you worked for a landscaper and you were mowing the yards and you decided to open your own business, you don't have to have 2 years anymore. You can do it after 1. So there's a lot of things like that they are trying to loosen up, but they're still very, people are not buying a house unless they're qualified, bottom line. It's not like 5, 6, 7,
Right.
2007 and 8.
I remember when I went in 2005, they said, how much can I afford? They said, what do you want to
Whatever
buy?
you want. You got good credit, whatever you
right.
want.
What could go wrong with that plan?
Yeah.
Now they have not, like the government, none of them have lowered their waiting periods. You still, for FHA, you still are 2 years after a bankruptcy. I think it's 3. I'd have to look at my cheat sheet on foreclosure. Conventional is 4 years for either foreclosure or bankruptcy. And but I helped a guy this week that had some disputed accounts and they weren't reporting correctly. 2 of the bureaus were right, 1 wasn't, and I was able to help him, and now he's going to be ready to buy. That we got that credit taken care of. So those are things that I do. You know, I look at their whole financial profile and I tell people, you tell me everything and I will decide what goes to the underwriter.
You really can't hide anything. I mean, I guess you can, but not really.
Oh, we find out. We find out a lot. Yes. There's in this.
Don't hurt yourself. Just tell the truth up front.
Right.
And let us see if we can work around it.
Yeah.
Because everything is so available information today. We're going to find out everything, whether you ever owned a house, whether you own another house you didn't tell me about, whether you were divorced. I mean, we're going to find out. So you might as well give it all to me up front.
We don't use names in here just because we don't want to specifically, but there's a person I remember you were dealing with that had, lots of cash, but didn't have a good income.
Yes.
And I guess that he owned a business and he was basically paying his bills to the company and wasn't really showing an income for tax reasons. And I remember he told me that you were very good about saying, hey, here's what you got to do. And I mean, he had money. Mm-hmm. He was like, nope, you can't get this loan. And you gave him some rules and he did that and you gave him his loan. I thought that was just very interesting.
Well, and I think they have loosened that. You've always been able to tap into your IRA, Roth, 401k.
Well, he had no money in his
if you were
business.
old enough.
Yeah. I
mean, if you were old enough. It was the investment when you've got cash and investments. That's what they've just changed.
That's good.
That you don't have to be 62 years old. You can be 50 and have a huge chunk of money, maybe you inherited, whatever, but you can use that for monthly income without having to pull it out and pay taxes on it.
And one thing I like to remind people is, when it comes to if your life is such to where you need that change in your life. And I know a lot of people have these interest rates that are so low, they don't want to make a change, but if you've got kids on top of each other or your job change, you got to relocate. I've always liked to tell people they're not qualified. They know if they qualify, they should go to you and you'll tell them,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's the first place we tell people when they want to buy a house, go speak to someone.
Right, because they go to you and how do they know how much they're going to be able to afford?
Right, and I try to explain to them, we don't want you to fall in love with a house before you know if you can afford it.
Well, you can look at that several ways.
Right.
You don't want to buy that $200,000 house to settle on when you find out, well, you mean I could have bought $300 for $500 more a month? I can do that. And now I can buy the house I want.
Right.
Yeah, or, there are people who say, I only feel comfortable spending X.
Correct.
You can let them know exactly what that will get them.
So, Diane, give us a health give us your grade on the real estate market right now. What do you think's going on?
Well, right now, inventory has actually dropped to 3.5 months. It was this time last year, it was at 5.5 months of inventory, which is, that's basically a buyer's market.
Right.
It's a little more balanced right now, but we are going into the fall. And so we expect that to go back up a little bit. It'll kind of go more towards buyers as we go towards December, depending on how the new tax amendment goes.
The election's over.
Right, depending on how that goes. And, there have been rumors about another interest rate hike.
What?
We
all look to
I know.
Gaye,
I think
as if it's your fault.
I think the problem is investors don't know where to put their money. And that's what we're dealing with. And when rates got so low, it's because the federal government was buying all of the bonds. They were inflating the market and lowering the rate.
Because the rate's based on the 10-year treasury? What is it, 30-year treasury?
I look at the 10-year treasury and mortgage-backed securities. It's really on mortgage-backed securities.
Okay.
And the government was buying millions, trillions.
They were.
Of mortgage-backed securities during 20 and 21.
Push that rate down.
To push it down. And now they've stopped.
Yeah.
And, buyers figure to lie. But there's so much numbers out there. It's how you look at it, and the birth rate and the death rate and unemployment and inflation, and what model are you using?
Well, they're saying it's inflation because inflation is going up so much they may have to raise the rate.
They may have to.
So the feds may raise the rate.
The feds.
Well, and again, if the best way for the government to control housing prices, bump the rates.
Yeah, that's true too.
Because money is it's a commodity, just like pork bellies,
right.
Okay? Or gold.
Yeah.
It's a commodity. If the Fed pulls in their supply, makes it more expensive, that will adjust things, and that's how you keep inflation better. But then you've got other offsets. Rates go up, inflation stays less, but then other things are affected too. The one thing I would never want to have a job is to be the Fed chairman.
Yeah.
Okay, because he can't do anything right. Okay?
Nobody.
It doesn't matter what he does.
Nobody likes you.
Yeah, everybody hates him, no matter what he does.
Right.
And it's there's a balancing act there, because if we have rates so low, that means money's worth less.
Right.
Because your interest is renting the money, right? So if it costs less to rent it, it's worth less.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, then it takes more of it to do the same thing. So it's a balancing act that's hard to deal with sometimes. But if people, I don't know, maybe people wasted too much money on the drop off stuff. The people that go, I can't even remember.
Amazon?
No, not right. Don't touch my Amazon. If I want it tomorrow, I just order it now. But
that's funny.
The food stuff. What are the guys?
What?
The people that bring you stuff from the restaurant.
DoorDash.
DoorDash.
I have words that just leave my brain some days. DoorDash and the people go shopping for you.
People spending too much on that?
I think they do.
I think the inflation, just look at gas prices. And I watch gas prices because, if I'm driving home and gas prices went from $3.75 to $4, I'm like, oh, crap, I need to go lock this loan in that I haven't locked yet, because if gas prices are up, the rate's probably up. But, think about rates over time historically.
They're not bad.
No, they're not.
They're really not bad.
I bought I had 6, I had 8. My
first home, 12%.
Well, yeah,
I know.
We hope we never get there again. But
first
6 to 8%,
16%.
6 to 8% is normal.
Yeah,
right.
It is.
So we
It's a
could
healthy
keep
market, Gaye.
yes, and we could keep the rates there, but we've got to get control of the food prices and the gas.
Right.
And anytime gas is under, even down to $2.50, all of a sudden the working class, they can afford it and they have money. They're driving to work every day. Rates goes from $2 to $4 in gas. That's $100 a week for a lot of people.
Right.
It's a lot of money.
That's a house payment almost.
And I wanted to hit one other point about real estate. And I do think it's a healthy market, Diane. It's weird how I believe it's not so imbalanced. It's almost like it's
more balanced than it was a year ago.
Yeah, if you want to sell, you can sell.
Yeah.
If you want to buy, you can buy. It's an interesting
It
market.
is more balanced.
But
I
the one
agree.
thing I wanted to talk to you about, and our time's running short, so I really want to hit this point.
Okay.
FSBOs, for sale by owners.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I, it's one of the things that as a title company owner, we deal with all types.
Mm-hmm.
But it's amazing the protection that you provide a seller,
Yeah.
a buyer,
true.
with all the fraud going on out there and all of the different tricks and all the things that these fraudsters use, or even people who want to just take advantage. I look at, I've told you this story before. I had a guy in my office wanting to do a FSBO. He wanted to sell it by himself. He wanted to put it on the internet and put it in Facebook. And I'm like, okay, you're putting that out there to the world. Somebody calls you up and wants to see your house. And you're like, no problem, honey. I'm at work. You show the house for me. How is that person vetted? How do they even know that person's not just there scoping out the house to either rob them or
True.
harm them or harm your wife? And I said to him, I says, you know what? Now I know what you value your family at. 6%. That's how much you value your family. 6%.
Not even that. And it is negotiable, by the way.
It is negotiable. And that was a whole other thing we're going to talk about. But I want to talk real quickly about what protections does a realtor provide a buyer and then a seller? What does a realtor provide a buyer? What kind of protections? And I know you're not their legal representation or anything, but you're there to protect them. What kind of things can you do?
Well, we're there to protect them in a number of ways. Make sure that, they get their inspections, they do the due diligence, that they meet those contract deadlines.
It's a long list.
It's long. And to protect realtors, we have systems like Forewarn where we can look people up before we even meet
You vet them.
Yeah, and these days with the buyer brokerage stuff we were going to talk about, we like to meet them ahead of time so we can discuss these issues. Right. So, and that provides a level of protection.
And I think
then for sellers,
yes,
we have the showing time system, right, where only realtors can access it, and we have lock boxes that only realtors can access. Each realtor has a code that goes on their phone. It identifies who they are, when they went in, when they left.
And plus with the and I know we have realtor.com, which, heaven's sakes, and Zillow, all these things that put the information out there. But again, how do you know it's legit? And
you don't, and we look it up.
Right.
I mean, we check it out to make sure everybody's who they say they are. Things are legal. We have wonderful title companies like Land Title who actually check things out for us. It's important because there is an awful lot of fraud going on.
There is. And I always I have one of my employees that she just groans and moans about all the fraud. And I get it. I mean, yeah, it's sad. It's horrible. And there are people being taken advantage of. But I also remind her, it is also job security for professionals like you and I.
It is.
Because it's so rampant. It's going to be rampant whether or not we're in the business. Okay.
That's right.
But we're there to help those people get through these things and help them look out for the dangers that are legit.
Stephen, and Diane, I would tell you, a seller will net more money if they use an agent than for sell by owner, number one. And number two, the 20 years I was an agent, I bought and sold a lot of homes. And do you know, I never even represented myself. You can't do it well. Yeah. I never listed my own home. Right. I never went and bought my own home. I had another agent help me. It's too close.
It's too personal.
Yes.
And for most people, I must tell you, half the time we are psychologists.
Yes.
Because
comforters,
it is very stressful and you need somebody you can talk to.
Well, look at the professional sports. Look at professional sports, if I can speak English. No athlete represents himself.
Right.
He always has an agent. Because it's too personal.
And a psychologist. You're
walking through a house and you're hearing people, because these days, often you can hear people and they're saying, oh God, that's ugly. And oh, why would they paint that color? And, we provide a buffer for that.
Right.
Because everybody has an opinion.
Which, if you're buying a home, by goodness, you should have that opinion.
That's right.
And you should be able to critique and say
That's
things.
right. But
If you're selling your home yourself, and that becomes problematic.
right.
It becomes very emotional.
Plus, you don't know who's qualified and who isn't qualified. Do you
Oh, my gosh.
pre-qualify them to see the home? A lot of people don't do that. They just show their home.
So let's talk about this real quick. We have a short amount of time left. Somebody wants to buy a home. What's the first thing they should do?
They should call me and we'll get them qualified.
Okay.
And then they should call Diane
That's right.
to either find their home or sell. Even list before you list
a
a house.
first-time home buyer, Gaye,
Mhm.
and I'm nervous, and I'm like, I don't know if I qualify. Again, I don't know if I qualify. How intrusive is it to call you up and say, hey, I want to buy a home. Am I qualified?
It costs nothing. It costs nothing to find out up front, to know exactly what you can buy, when you can buy, and then go look at homes.
Right.
And I think all three of us have the same, we have to be the calming factor. So
We do.
when I'm talking and I'm asking for all of these documents and, it's a stressful time for them, I'm taking their money. And then Diane's trying to find them the perfect house.
That's
and then
right.
you're doing the closing. And sometimes buyers and sellers aren't real happy with each other, but you have to be the calming factor in this business. And I've seen agents and lenders that aren't, and then they feed off, oh, well, I don't know why they're asking for this, and a buyer or a borrower feeds off of that.
That's right.
But
Okay.
be the
Last
calming factor.
Last thing. Person wants to buy a new home. They got pre-qualified with Gaye, but they're going to a subdivision that's got a builder and they've got their agents on staff. Why not just go to that agent?
Because the agent works for the builder and doesn't have your interests at heart as a buyer. The builder is their employer, and that's who they represent. They do not represent the buyers at all. When you have your own agent, first of all, these days, builders pay the agent's commission in almost all cases. So that's not even a factor. You do not get that money as a buyer. They're not going to give you the money they would give an agent. That's a
You're
misconception.
not going to buy a house for less money because you brought it.
That's right.
Didn't bring an agent.
Right. They're not going to do that. And you may not get, I have a personal relationship with the people. I develop relationships with the people who represent buyers or represent the builders. So I can go and talk to them and say, okay, this is what we need. What can you give me? And I can negotiate in a way a buyer probably can't.
Again, they're too close to the situation too.
Right.
So
And aren't several of those, agents, they're not all agents, right?
They're not all agents.
Some
That's
of them
right.
are just hostesses
That's right.
that are not licensed agents. They're just there to show a house.
right.
Right. Right.
So
Different
I want people to understand that when we want people, we want you to take advantage of these new developments, but don't go in there alone.
No,
Ta-
get
take an agent.
representation.
Yeah, take an agent with you so
And-
that you can have that.
And you have to do it the first time you go.
Okay.
You have to have
right.
your agent
Otherwise,
with
you screw up.
right. Or
won't let
give them the agent's card. Let
Right.
them know I'm being represented.
So before I start looking and driving around and looking at these new developments and looking at homes, the best thing to do is choose an agent.
It is. Well,
Because what does it cost that potential buyer?
it doesn't really cost anything. Although,
Okay.
if you want buyer brokerage representation, which is what we're doing these days, you do have to agree to make sure the agent is paid.
Okay.
That doesn't mean necessarily you have to pay the agent. Usually
That could be part of your negotiations with the seller.
Usually it's negotiated somehow.
But that's
So-
only if you buy the house.
Right.
The great thing about realtors is that you guys, you help these people out, but your fees only due if they buy a home.
That's
So,
right. We don't
right.
get paid unless people buy a home.
Right. So I think that it's just imperative that people understand the importance of having you, especially if they're going to go to these new developments.
Right. But don't forget, before we can show you a home, you have to sit down with your agent and go through either buyer brokerage or a showing agreement.
Okay.
Have them explain it to you. Make sure you understand the difference.
Okay.
Make sure they are telling you what it is. And if they're showing you property without one of these, don't use them, because if they're cutting corners here, where else are they cutting corners?
How do people find you?
You can call me on my cell phone, the easiest way. I am the only Diane Vespucci in the phone book.
Do we have
You
phone
might be
books?
the only Diane Vespucci of phone books. I didn't catch that. So,
Did that date
I
me?
mean, they can Google you
Yes.
They can Google me, yes.
or
So
call.
Diane, do you mind sharing your? Do you
No, not at all. 904-347-3957.
Can you give it one more time?
904-347-3957.
Okay, and it's just
I'm with
easy.
Team 100 Realty.
And they just
Yep.
need to call you. Say, if I want to go look at this development, just call you up, and you'll schedule time
Just
to go
call
with
me
them.
up. I'll be happy to sit down and talk to them, and can actually help them pick out which developments they do want to go to.
Okay.
Because every development offers something different.
Would you actually show a home to somebody that's not pre-qualified?
No.
Okay.
I may show them one home, possibly. I have done that before just to make them feel comfortable, and then I immediately direct them to Gaye or some other qualified mortgage person. So
And again, it's not intimidating, right? They come to you, say, I want to get pre-qualified. What kind of documentation are they going to need to get pre-qualified?
We're basically looking for a 2-year history. Where have you lived the last 2 years? Where have you worked? And, for a W-2 employee, it's pretty simple. 2 years W-2s and a most recent pay stub and an ID. That's basically
How long
all
does
I
it take
need.
them to get pre-qualified once they bring you that information?
An hour or two, unless they're complicated.
Okay.
And as long as I'm at my computer.
All right. And again, how do people find you?
My cell phone, 904-599-2551. Or they can Google Gaye Jones, and that's Gaye Jones. And I come up all over the place to
Awesome.
do that.
Well, I really appreciate you all being on the show with me today.
Thanks for
and
having
talking
us.
about these important issues. We didn't get to the broker agreement. Sorry.
No, we
had some
didn't.
other fun things to talk about. Rusty, how do they find you?
Go to your office and hang a right.
904-829-6600. And again, I'm Steve Collins from Land Title. It's expensive, you're right. Don't have ownership in real estate without title insurance. Don't buy or sell. There's too much fraud going on out there. If you're an investor and you're buying or selling real estate, we'd encourage you to make sure you speak to us about some of the pitfalls and things you need to look out for. Tax deeds, foreclosures, we like helping out with all those things, but don't do it alone. We want to assist you. You can reach me on my cell phone, 904-501-4481, 904-501-4481. And we appreciate you listening. Julie, appreciate you being on the show.
Wherever you are.
Have a good night.
Oh, we found her.
Thanks, Julie.
We appreciate you being here. Julie normally sits in here with us, but we had 2 guests, so we kicked her out. But we always appreciate her keeping us in line. She'd chime in if I said something wrong. But thanks for watching, and we look forward to having you again. Thank you very much.
All right.